Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement. Hey, don't touch her. Have a nice day. Let's have a conversation.
What do you hope to get out of this? Why are you here?
Okay, I'm going to ask that question a lot. First of all, that question should not even have to be asked, but when people stop talking, really bad stuff starts. When marriages stop talking, divorce happens. When church starts happening, they fall apart. When civilization stops talking, civil war ensues. When you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to want to commit violence against that group. Whether it be the great genocide, the horrible genocide of the last 100 years, people stop talking with each other because they lose their humanities. I wish we could be here without having my hat thrown off and stuff, but what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have reasonable disagreement where violence is not an option.
Charlie Kirk has been shot.
Charlie Kirk was shot.
We just found out that Charlie Kirk got shot.
Is it bad?
Fuck.
Charlie Kirk was just shot at his campus in Utah. Why are you laughing? He is my friend.
Charlie Kirk got shot and killed. How do you feel?
Happy. Goodbye. That's good.
That's why you don't share your opinions. That's why you shut your fucking mouth. I don't really give a shit that he's dead. That was funny. Ha ha ha, very funny.
Charlie Kirk was without a doubt a very bad person. He was deeply unethical. He was racist. He was a misogynist. He was transphobic. He was advocating for a worse world.
We're going to pick up that bloodstained microphone where Charlie left it.
They know they have no argument.
And to those who would intimidate,
The cries of this widow
who would seek to stop us,
will echo around the world like a battle cry.
who would seek to end free discussion,
This is why the next man up philosophy is so important.
and can violently threaten and kill people,
You take one out, 1,000 more appear.
who believe that they have ownership over public spaces.
You take one out, 10,000 more appear.
We are not going to stop. And I have two words. Fuck you.
You take one out is that it only actually makes us stronger.
What can I do to save the country? You answer that question every single day because you are doing the work to save this beautiful republic. You are doing something that is bigger than you.
Okay, that's enough fancy editing. Let's get down to brass tacks. Nobody is surprised that some people are going to celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. If you can't beat him on a horse, beat him with a stick in the night. They are celebrating because they no longer think they have to contend with Charlie intellectually, which we're going to make sure is not true. But what I was surprised about, and what I think the world was surprised by, was the sheer volume of people making fun of, condoning, and celebrating his assassination and death. So many people, in fact, I reckon some of them are in my city. Some of them might be enjoying the Riverwalk on a Saturday morning and might not be ready to be confronted with a man in a microphone who loved Charlie Kirk. And I went out with a couple of very distinct purposes. Charlie Kirk always said, if you stop talking to people you disagree with, you will demonize them, you will learn to hate them, you will eventually commit violence upon them, which is exactly what happened to Charlie Kirk. So we're not going to repeat that, right? We're going to go out, we're going to talk to these people, we're going to be loving, we're going to be compassionate. I really think the majority are confused to who Charlie Kirk was. It's just an ignorance problem. They've seen these little clips of him saying this or that or the other thing, and they don't actually know his full stances on things. They don't know his full character. So the first priority is to fix that. Find people who don't like Charlie Kirk, ask why, and get down to the bottom of it. The second purpose is to confront cowards. And I shouldn't have to explain that. So let's get going. I asked everybody the same question. What do you think of Charlie Kirk's assassination? And I knew that there was going to be a limited number of responses. So let's go through right now the most common response.
I didn't like some of the things he said, but he was a respectable human being. And it's an awful thing that happened.
He never nothing to be happy about when somebody get assassinated like that.
Have any thoughts on it? Yeah, highly disappointed. Upset. It's a pretty sad day for all of us.
Very sad day. Yeah. What would you say to the people online that are celebrating it?
Pretty despicable, I guess, what I would say.
They weren't raised right. Hold on, have you actually seen anybody in San Antonio that was pro?
I'm glad you asked. Immediately after this group of guys say,
you don't condemn it.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Thank you. They should kill him now.
The next man I talked to, his first words out of his mouth.
Any thoughts on Charlie Kirk's assassination?
They should torture him like.
You don't like Charlie Kirk? That's exactly what I'm here to talk about. Why don't you like him? Can I sit with you? I would love to. I'd love to go over this with you.
Now, it's a little hard to hear him because of a prior incident.
Whether or not I'm right or wrong, that's not what I'm pushing.
Yeah, the audio is kind of shot for the rest of the day, which is the reason I'm doing this. But you can still make out him saying, I don't like him. He's a racist and he's a white supremacist. Now, as you can see, I sat down and talked to this man for a good 10 minutes. And sadly, none of the audio is usable, completely inaudible. But we had a great conversation, got to clarify a lot of quotes from Charlie Kirk. He tried to present some quotes from Charlie Kirk that I don't think are real. He wasn't able to find them. I had never heard them before. And I have dug into every single one of his controversial quotes. But we had a productive conversation, I think. We didn't get to talk for nearly as long as I wanted to and clear up everything I wanted to. He had this weird complex. This was new to me at the time. Now, of course, Jimmy Fallon has been fired for saying this. He kept saying it was one of you guys. And he was referring to both me being white and the shooter being white and calling the shooter Republican or conservative. And I don't know where that lie came from. It's the most hideous, just bad lie I've ever heard in my life. But that was the point he was trying to make. It was like, well, it's one of you guys, so why are you even talking to me? Just a lot of hate in his heart. We got to clear some of that out. I hope that when he went home, he got to look up some more context, got to know Charlie Kirk for who he actually was. But I don't know. That was one of my nicer interactions. And looking back, I would say this is my worst interaction.
What are you asking?
Do y'all have any thoughts on Charlie Kirk's assassination?
Oh, I don't want to.
No? Would you condemn the celebration? Well, but don't you think that's extremely harmful? It's probably what got him killed.
He's a Republican. That's all you need to know. Probably the most disgusting interaction of the day. I don't know why I didn't harass these people more. I had somebody waiting to talk to me, but I should have chased these people down, not let them just get away with throwing that out there. Yeah, just disgusting people. Just disgusting shells of human beings. Really? Now, that's not all the Charlie haters that were out there, but I want to highlight the second most common response.
Do y'all have any thoughts on Charlie Kirk's assassination you want to share? Nothing at all? You don't want to condemn it as a father? Or as a husband? Or as a man? Do you have any thoughts on Charlie Kirk's assassination? No thoughts? You don't want to condemn? You don't want to condemn the people celebrating it?
Move on.
You don't think you have an obligation to speak up when tyranny rises and evil things happen?
Not interested, thank you.
You're not interested? You don't have anything to say about Charlie Kirk's assassination? You don't want to condemn the people celebrating it? Nothing at all?
We just,
I don't care. Just move. I care about the situation, but I don't want to talk to you, so move on.
Okay, I understand my approach of shaming or harassing these people might be a little controversial, so let's talk about it. Normally, when I do these street interviews, the most common response is, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to be on video, I don't want to do an interview. Even when I went to the No King's Day protest, protesters who told me that, okay, have a good day, right? It's not a problem. But a man has been shot, and people are celebrating it, and I'm here to determine who's who. Hi, it's a new day, it's a new shirt, let's get to it. So the reason I treated these people so harshly is because they can really only fall into really three different camps. The first camp being if they're pro-Charlie, but they don't want to speak about it. You're a disgusting coward. I don't think this was many of them, but there are certainly people I interviewed in general who's like, oh yeah, it was gross, but I'm not going to condemn the people celebrating it, which I thought was wild. Very, very small minority of people. I think what's much more likely is they either don't know much about Charlie Kirk, so they don't want to speak about it publicly. And I get that, but just tell me that. I had plenty of people say, I don't know, I don't want to speak on it. No problem, have a good day, or I'd answer their questions. I think the majority of these people were anti-Charlie Kirk. They don't want to speak on it because they don't want to be confronted with it. And these are the people I went out to call out. So I put some pressure on them. I put some pressure on it. I don't regret it. The one person I have a little bit of guilt on was the man walking with his kid. Maybe just didn't want his kid to hear that or be part of that conversation. But I talked to plenty of families who had their kids with them, multiple young kids, and they would either let their kids keep walking and then answer, or they would have the conversation like men in front of their kids to stand up against evil. You know, we had plenty of polite conversations in front of kids. Irregardless, I'm glad I did it because it ended up creating one of the best conversations I had of the day.
Any thoughts on Charlie Kirk's assassination?
I don't really got anything to say on that, man.
You want to condemn the people that are celebrating it?
I mean, I think everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So, I mean, what people want to fucking celebrate, let them celebrate. If people don't want to celebrate, they should be free to not celebrate.
Man, would you look at that? A little bit of prodding, and turns out he had a whole lot to say about Charlie Kirk. We talked a good 10-15 minutes, probably my best interview of the day. It's also my only long interview with good audio. This guy was left-leaning, didn't know Charlie Kirk all too well, heard lots of rumors about Charlie Kirk, and kind of ran with those rumors. I'll let you guys be the judge.
Be free to not celebrate.
Of course, they're free to do what they want to or not, but do you think, obviously, you can still judge their actions, you can still...
I'm not anyone to judge anybody, man. I think that's the biggest problem that everybody faces in today's society is that they think they have something to say and what everybody else got going on. I think we should definitely encourage each other to like do more positive things around the world. But I mean, I don't think I have any say in whether or not someone else is doing worse than me. I think we're all just trying to get by. At the end of the day, everybody has karma that they deal with. So, I mean, you know, if they want to push celebration and something happens to them, I mean, same thing with Kirk. He pushed certain ideologies that he ended up suffering from himself. So, you know, it's just irony at the end of the day.
Do you think that as people and as Americans, we have the obligation to stand up when wrong things happen?
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, at the end of the day, we're still supporting our government who funds, the war in Gaza and everything like that. So we also don't even step up as a society to talk about the situations going on in our schools and all the shootings that go on there. But as soon as an activist on the far right wants to talk about, you know, whatever he wants to talk about and it ends up getting shot, now all of a sudden it's an issue. So
what do you think?
Hypocritical.
Have you ever seen one of the countless hours of Charlie trying to defend those children who were hurt in school shootings?
Yeah, I also see that he talked about, you know, in order to protect or keep our Second Amendment, he believed that certain people should die in order for that to stay safe. So, unfortunately, if that was what he was pushing for and that ended up happening to him, I mean, you know, irony, like I said, karma's something that happens to everybody.
There is an irony in that. But have you heard like the full quote, the full argument that he's giving there when he says that?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm not too sure. I mean, I feel like that's not really something you would want to say either way. I mean, if you wanted to protect anyone that's getting involved in school shootings and stuff like that, I mean, there should just be an advocacy of like, you know, we shouldn't be supporting any kind of gun violence, whatever the case may be.
Well, in his full argument, he was basically presenting an alternative to gun control. His argument was that gun control in no point in history in any other country has actually made the citizens more safer. They've just made them less free. And sadly, a consequence of a free nation is that people need to have guns and that you cannot have 0 gun deaths in a year without, if you do have guns, but it's a necessary evil. I think what you just said is like taking that quote out of context is what demonized him and what ended up getting him killed. Would you agree?
Maybe. I mean, but at the same time, he pushes certain ideologies that demonize other classes of people or in the U.S. themselves.
Who did he demonize?
He demonized trans folk, you know, immigrants getting shipped away from their families, you know, whatever else that Trump wanted to support.
Have you seen any of his debates with a trans person?
I don't think I've put in too much effort into like taking a look at everything he says. But I mean, I've seen plenty of clips. I see what he pushes. You know, at the end of the day, it's still, regardless of what you want to say, I mean, he's still demonizing certain classes of people for the sake of his own beliefs and his own agenda or whatever, like what he believes, and that's perfectly fine. I don't think anyone should be afraid to speak their mind, but at the same time, I mean, everybody's gonna have to deal with consequences of what they say. So,
I do believe he could be a little snarky and stuff like that. He's, you know, at the end of the day, he was doing a little bit of comedy, but I haven't seen personally any conversation with a trans person where he's not being deeply respectful. Obviously, he rejects the ideology, but he loves the person. He says all humans are made in the image of God. All people are equally valuable because they're created by God. Mm-hmm. And you can see many I would say the opposite, where a trans person comes up to debate with him, or somebody with that trans ideology, and people in the crowd are booing the trans person, and he's saying, "Stop! Don't do that. Be respectful." Because they came here to talk. We respect them. We love them.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's good on him. I mean, unfortunately, like I said, I mean, supporting gun violence and anything of that sort, I mean...
When did he ever support gun violence? Like,
well, I mean, you just said that, like, he felt like gun violence was a necessary evil in order to protect our Second Amendments, which I can understand that, you know, for sure. But I don't think that we should have ever had to shy away from any kind of like gun control laws or anything like that. If anything, we're more and more inclined to push the agenda of everyone should own a gun. There should be easier access to obtain a gun. There shouldn't be any kind of restrictions when it comes down to owning a gun, which I understand, you know, from a standpoint of wanting to protect yourself and your family and never having to be on the other side of the barrel, you know, without being able to protect yourself. But if we continue to just push this agenda without ever like acknowledging that there's definitely a problem with that ideology, that no restrictions should be implemented for gun violence. Like the fact that Texas alone took away like the mandatory licensing to own a gun without. So now, if anything, more people aren't familiar with the weapon they hold, and they're more likely and more inclined to pull it out whenever they feel like it, just because they're losing in an argument, just like what happened with Charlie Kirk, or whether or not they just completely disagree with the situation that's unfolding. I mean, I believe that mostly like the problem that's going on with the U.S. as a whole is that less and less people are starting to realize that a lot of conflicts can be resolved not only with words, but with, I mean, if you really got to throw it down, I mean, we got our fists. That's what God gave us as our weapon. So, I mean, I don't see any reason why people are so quick to pull out their guns. But at the end of the day, I mean, without a government or even a president who's willing to acknowledge that there's too much deaths going on in the world due to gun violence, instead they like to kind of just tuck it under the rug and just say, well, you know what, at the end of the day, it's just people. And if that's the case, well, then nothing's ever really going to change. If anything, it might just get worse.
Would you say, I mean, obviously nobody's pro gun violence, right? Charlie's approach was more guns, more good guys with guns, more security at schools, checkpoints at schools, stuff like that. Is somebody allowed to have a different solution to the gun problem? And does that justify his assassination if he's just an advocate for more guns as a solution to gun violence?
I don't think there's really any justification for what happened. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to like do what we believe is right, push what we believe is right. The only thing I don't think I can agree with is when people like to try and force their beliefs onto others. You know, I feel like everyone should have the freedom to choose that. But the stripping of women's rights and the stripping of rights from immigrants, and the fact that nobody wants to acknowledge or even support the fact that that's not a good thing.
Charlie was against both of those things. Very pro-women, pro-immigrant.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't seen anything on that. From my understanding is that he felt like if you're not allowed to be in the country, then you know you should be deported. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who are in this country illegally, yes, but they're actively working towards getting their situation fixed. Now, I do understand there's the argument, well, why couldn't they get it fixed before? I don't really have a say in that. I'm not sure as to why or how they got into the country without getting it done before or prior. But if people are actively working to get that sorted out as compared to others who are just, you know, here for the ride or actively doing things they're not supposed to be doing while being here illegally, you know, I definitely think we should focus more on those people instead of just trying to pick out a certain class of people and then, you know, deporting them just because we feel like, again, like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, they were demonizing a huge class of people.
But where did Charlie Kirk demonize people?
But you know, I mean, but the thing is that I don't think I've ever seen anything on him ever supporting like certain situations where it was definitely unlawful to get these people out of the country. At the end of the day, he would just blatantly say, you know, hey, you know what? These guys were in here illegally. They should be deported. That's that. You know, they were breaking the law. You know, and that's end of the argument. They're breaking the law, so they should be gone.
Yeah. What was Charlie's full immigration stance?
That I'm not too sure. You know, I'm not really.
Then why are you speaking on it?
Because you're asking me the questions. Yeah.
But is there anything wrong with saying I don't know?
I'm not going to sit here and dedicate my entire life into literally like understanding every single thing that man said. But at the end of the day, a lot of what he did say kind of inclined to what happened to him. That's the irony behind everything on this. At least that's my stance, my point of view. whether or not I'm right or wrong, that's not what I'm pushing.
At the end of the day, my poor camera didn't deserve that. And as you might suspect, the audio is shot from here on out. But it's a real shame because we're only about halfway through our conversation, and it was very productive and very respectful. It got even more productive, more respectful as we went on. But I made a point to this guy after the camera fell. I brought up all these topics that he brought up, which were hard not to chase, by the way. He brought up abortion, he brought up trans rights, Gaza, Second Amendment, gun violence. Those were hard things not to chase. But I wanted to keep it on the topic, Charlie Kirk. I brought up examples like how, he's anti-abortion, right? It's a controversial, it's a well-known controversial thing. But you said he's anti-women's rights. He's anti-illegal immigration. But you said he's anti-immigration. He's pro-Second Amendment. You called that pro-gun violence. I essentially pointed out all the things he said that dehumanized Charlie. And then I gave examples of all the times that Charlie humanizes his opponent. His entire thing was going out and giving his opponent the opportunity to speak. That's not what you do when you're trying to dehumanize somebody. And in the end, he agreed that the celebration of Charlie Kirk's assassination was immoral, which I think was a huge jump. Obviously, we still disagreed on a lot of things. He needed to look more into specifically what Charlie said, but it was a great conversation. One other point that he made was, you're out here doing this for Charlie Kirk, but why aren't you out here doing this for trans rights or for school shooting victims or for Gaza? And I made the point that I do in a lot of abortion arguments because people say, like, well, you're out here arguing against abortion, but what are you doing for the kids that are alive on the earth now? Slavery exists. You have probably never done anything to fight against slavery, but your condemnation of it is no less meaningful. Something doesn't have to affect me directly, and I don't have to be actively involved in it to call it out. Anyways, we discussed for a long time. We actually went into the whole, the trans books being in schools versus the 10 Commandments. Interesting conversation. Too bad nobody will ever hear it. I would love to, if you're seeing this, I'd love to talk to you more. I'd love to debate you on every single one of those topics. And, thank you for the respectful conversation. Moving on, there's only a few more interesting conversations. Let's hit them rapid fire.
After your shift. Hello? No? Are you sure?
Well, what is this one?
Charlie Kirk?
Oh,
No, you don't have any thoughts on Charlie Kirk? Well, y'all call Anthony. You don't have any thoughts? Are y'all for the will y'all condemn the people that are celebrating it? Will you condemn the people that are celebrating it? What's that, sir? No condemnation?
I should have shoved the camera in their face. I don't know why I didn't. But moving on. After this, I got turned away like 5 times in a row. And then I went to talk to this couple, and they were super pro-Charlie, very pro-American. They had a lot of wise words about how, in a marriage, you can disagree on things, but ultimately you have to come together, and that America, you have left wing and you have right wing, but ultimately they're the wings of the same bird, and we have to fly together. It was beautiful. It's gone. I'm sorry. I stood too far away from the camera. The camera can't pick up any audio from this. Then I got to have a very lovely short conversation with this guy who's pro-Charlie, and as I was walking away, he said this.
No.
Meet nameless 80-year-old lady. So sweet, so cute. And believe it or not, against political assassinations, this woman. And then I ran into this group.
Do y'all have any thoughts y'all want to share on Charlie Kirk's assassination? None at all? Why not? What do you think? Do you have any thoughts on Charlie Kirk's assassination?
I thought that was wrong.
Okay, so we have all these young ladies who do not like Charlie Kirk, and before I can even ascertain why, this guy walks up with the camera out, asks me what's up, and I'm like, oh man, I have my work cut out for me here. I got a lot of people who do not like Charlie Kirk, and I gotta defend him. But then this man condemns his assassination and the celebration of it. And I'm like, oh, okay, so he's pro-Charlie Kirk. No, he's not. He thinks Charlie Kirk is a hardcore bring back slavery racist. So it ended up being the best conversation of all time ever, because I got to clear Charlie's name, and I got to talk to somebody who had so much grace and mercy in their heart that they condemned the murder of somebody who they thought was genuinely evil to their core. It was great all around. I got to catch up to the ladies. They very clearly didn't like Charlie.
Hey, Don't like him.
Yeah, great conversation. I really wish the audio was saved on this one, but again, it was a good case of why people think he's racist and the defense of it. So it would have been a good teaching moment, but yeah. Audio's cooked. I'm sorry. This gal is in the military, and she said that Charlie Kirk was helping them with all the riots and the protests that are going on outside of bases, and that everybody in the military, in her experience, in her unit, is in grieving and mourning over Charlie Kirk. Big personal hero, I guess, to her individually, and I guess largely the people around her in the military. So, different perspective for you there. The girls at the table, what can I say? When I first walked up and asked about Charlie Kirk, they all just kind of looked at each other, and then looked at me, and then looked at each other, and then looked at me, and had to kind of pull teeth to get it out, but they did not like Charlie Kirk. They thought he was racist, thought he was sexist, just based off clips they'd seen, which is exactly what I was out there to clear up. Got to clear some quotes, got to clear some context, and they ultimately still didn't want to condemn the celebration of his death, but hopefully I introduced to them the other side of the argument. Very respectful, very productive. This lovely family man, his daughter actually kind of pushed him up to come talk to me because he had just been listening to a bunch of Charlie Kirk stuff. But we shared the sentiment that even though we didn't know Charlie Kirk, we respect him and everything, but didn't know him, didn't have a personal relationship with him. But when he died, we grieved him like a best friend. Got to have a good heartfelt conversation about why that is, why we think that is, who he was. Very positive, good conversation, good man. And would you look who I found for my last interview? Sadly, these ladies just did not want to talk to me. I never found out why they don't like Charlie Kirk. But this new guy that was with them did condemn the assassination and the celebration, so that was good enough for me. I tried to clear up some racist quotes and some sexist quotes before I left, but yeah, they weren't having it, which is too bad. Hopefully I introduced them at least to the other side. I don't know. And the last of the last, this is actually earlier in the day. I just forgot about it. We had a little rage baiter, I think. I don't know. I'm rather confused at this whole situation that happens here. I'll let you be your best judge. This is at the beginning of the day, so I actually have audio. Yeah, it's Gray Matter Garage.
Can you type it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you have any thoughts on Charlie Kirk's assassination?
No thanks.
No thanks? You don't want to condemn it? Weird, right? I'd assume he would be interested in the topic if, I don't know. Anyways, I gave chase. Do y'all have any thoughts on Charlie Kirk?
No.
His assassination?
R.I.P.
R.I.P.?
Yeah.
What about, what do you think of the people that are celebrating it online?
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. I'm way more morality better than them.
So he's rage baiting me. Whatever, I'm just not going to entertain it. Mom starts crying and faces the other way. So I don't know if there's this whole thing where she's sad about it, but her son is celebrating it. And there's some contempt in the family. I don't know. So I prod. Yeah, it looked like you have something to say. No? Are you sure? This is typically
I love the man, but that's all I got to say.
Yeah. You don't think you, as a man, should condemn the assassination of somebody who's had a family? Loving father and husband?
I have nothing more to say, but of course. I mean, it's obvious. Yeah.
Well, I wish it was obvious, but there's a lot of people saying exactly the opposite. You don't feel any call to action to do something about it?
Nope.
I don't really know what's going on here. Son's rage baiting me, clearly making fun of the whole incident. Mom's crying. Dad says it's awful, but won't condemn it. Is letting his son make fun of it. I don't know what's going on here, but they got issues. That's all I know. That's it. That's all the clips I got. What are you still doing here? Go home, subscribe to support my social suicide as I go out on campus and I argue with people that Charlie Kirk was in fact a good person, and inevitably have to argue with people about literally everything that Charlie Kirk has ever argued about, which is everything ever, and I'm not ready for it, but I'm doing that next. So like and subscribe. Goodbye. Oh, and I'm wearing a shirt through this whole video. It's not available anymore. We were selling it and donating to profits. Not a thing. All right, goodbye.